for it, he in whose bag the cup is found shall be the penalty for it. Thus we requite wrongdoers.
فبدأ بأوعيتهم قبل وعاء أخيه ثم استخرجها من وعاء أخيه كذلك كدنا ليوسف ما كان ليأخذ أخاه في دين الملك إلا أن يشاء الله نرفع درجات من نشاء وفوق كل ذي علم عليم.
Then he, Joseph, began the search with their bags before his brother's bag. And then he produced it from his brother's bag. Thus did we contrive for Joseph. He could not have taken his brother.
When you want it from the Islamic perspective.
Now we have some websites, alhamdulillah.
Assalamu alaikum.
Who is You're watching the Newsroom, Islam Newsroom. The news you want when you want it from the Islamic perspective.
Now we have some websites, alhamdulillah.
Assalamu alaikum.
Who is Allah?
Maybe we'll even see somebody enter into Islam.
Excuse me, do you believe in God?
Why do we call him Allah?
One more time, everyone. Okay, good.
These are the ones that we're going to be mailing out.
Ilaha. Illa. Allah.
And I bear witness that Muhammad.
And that's right, we're right across the river from Palestine, as a matter of fact, here in Aqaba. The new moon, the Hilal, has been sighted for the month of Shawwal.
When the adhan is called, it doesn't matter where you are. You go and you make your salah, alhamdulillah.
Now, I think this is something that inshallah ta'ala will all be able to benefit from.
GuideUS TV is free. No ads, no spam, no big business. Just free.
Log in now and make your contribution today to support your favorite project at donatetoislam.com.
You're watching the Newsroom, Islam Newsroom. The news you want when you want it.
And we're coming to you almost live all the way from our studios right here in Southern California. This is Yusuf Estes, and for the next little while, we're going to be talking about a number of interesting topics, not the least of which is the sharing of Islam. And to help us talk about all of this and even answer your questions about the virus that's going around, we have Dr. Sultan, and he is in the middle part of the United States, St. Louis, Missouri. Salaam alaikum, doctor. How are you? MashaAllah. How is everything there?
MashaAllah, doing good. Doing good. I think the cases are rising, like anywhere else and everywhere else. But we are coping with it. The key is don't panic. Do the common sense things. Keep social distance, have a mask, personal hygiene, clean your mouth, clean your nose, and ablution, and all those keep you, and that is your virus.
agree with that 100%. It's very important for us, I think, at this stage of the game, to take consider each member of our family and be sure that each one of them is apprised of what is going on and what they need to do about it, how they need to be prepared, and what they should do and what they shouldn't do. And it's serious enough that I have like a little meeting every day, maybe it's something, but be sure that everybody is on the same page with what they're trying to achieve. That makes sense.
Yes, sense. That's what we, our staff, everyone comes in, has their temperature taken. Patients come in, their temperature taken, to make sure that they have a mask on, and we do distancing. One patient comes one time, we get them in one room. Then another patient comes in another room. We don't intermingle patients. We don't put multiple people in the same room. We encourage that only the patient come and not the entire family come, unless in case of a kid or somebody disabled or something like that.
Of course, yeah.
So those are the simple, common sense things that Department of Public Health and all the health departments recommend. So those are the things that we do.
That makes a lot of sense too. What is the latest on what's going on in your area?
Well, the latest, I said, the southern, the rural part of Missouri is going up and up again, because they got meat plants and there's a lot of congestion over there, and the cities, the worst affected area, of course, the city of St. Louis, because there are the poor people, there are social distancing not possible, multiple people living in small apartments, and because of the poverty, these are the people who have all sorts of chronic risk conditions like diabetes, like hypertension, like asthma, and all coronary heart disease, heart failures. So these are very high risk people, and they are getting the brunt of the illness, as we know. What I think is we really have to everyone has to reevaluate its health. Do I have perfect health, or do I have problems with chronic symptoms? We should go to the physician and encourage the physician to look for the cause and treat the cause, so that that improves our immunity, and that reduces our risk to various infections. And that's the message. Improve your quality of health, good air, good food, good water. Those are the things that will nourish your health. No smoking, no drinking, and drink clean water, and so on and so forth.
If ever there was a good time to give up bad things, I think now is the best time to do that.
Exactly. And you will justify doing so, both consciously and subconsciously, because smoking and alcohol are two terrible things, and you do not want to have those things, especially in this such an infectious and such a virulent virus that we have. I don't want even one particle of that get into my lungs, and taking care of all these precautions, keep our guards up. None of my staff has suffered any illness because of that, because number one, they learn how to keep themselves well, and then do all the things that we just talked about, and by the grace of Allah Ta'ala, that they are all in good health.
I heard something. I don't know what that was. Maybe it's my phone. I don't know. Anyway, so tell us what is going on as far as Islam. What are the Muslims doing in your area? What's it like at the masjid and so on? Are they open?
Yes, they are open because, of course, the demand is so much and the number of people you can accommodate at one time is so low that we have decided to have three Jummah prayers on Friday. I mean, of course, on Friday. The three Jummah prayers, 20, 30 minutes apart, and that way we are accommodating everyone whatever we had. So we were losing about 2/3 of our capacity. So by tripling it, we have come to the where we can accommodate everybody who wants to come in. Everyone brings his own musalla, has wudu at home, and this is what one of the hadith says, that you should do wudu at home and then come in a purified state to masjid. So that's Allah's blessing, that although many of us, for one and the other, would not follow that hadith, but now we are kind of forced to do so.
Yeah, we have a caller, doctor. Just excuse me, just one second. Salam alaikum, caller. What is your name? Where are you calling from? MashaAllah. What is your name? Where are you calling from?
I'm Abdullah, and I'm calling from New York, Manhattan.
MashaAllah. All right. Do you have a question for the doctor?
No.
Okay. What can we do for you?
I think I'm gonna recite a surah.
Oh, you want to recite a surah?
Yes.
Okay. How old are you?
5.
You're 5 years old. MashaAllah. All right, let's hear you recite the surah.
Okay. I'm gonna recite
Surah Fatiha. All right. All right, that works. Go ahead.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين.
Ameen. MashaAllah. Thank you so much for calling us and reciting with us, okay?
Okay.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
MashaAllah. MashaAllah. Wa alaikum salam. Dr. Adil is with us. MashaAllah. Dr. Adil, if you give us some update, you're there in Tampa, Florida. So if you give us a little bit of an update on what's happening there.
Yes, sir. Assalamu alaikum, Dr. Sultan. Now, it's been a while. Tampa is relatively stable compared to the problem is the epicenter is down south. All the, in Miami area, that's where the heavy cases and infection rates, and unfortunately fatalities. So while people now are in the midst of really trying to get ready for school and figure out whether they're going to open or not, universities, there's basically all the usual concern that everybody's talking about all across the nation. But in Tampa, it seems to be stable for the time being. Everybody's pretty much compliant with wearing the mask in public places, which is very good and a healthy sign. And people are complying. And when you go to shopping, different places and so on, that they have the mask on, and they have a security guard actually will not let anybody go in, shop, Walmart or others, unless people are compliant with that. So there's definite change that maybe in a positive way, that people feel that this is serious and we have to do these simple things. Wearing the mask, social distancing, basically have frequent washing of hands, and make sure that if somebody is sick and they have to be tested, and if they test positive, they self quarantine, and that's really how we could move forward to have a little bit of control, or put around hands around the virus, and limit and curtail its further spread to so many. And if obviously there's area that is still have very high risk and rate of infection, probably the decision should be made individually in the area, depending on the numbers, rather than and if the numbers are stable, I think 5 days in a row, that people can make the decisions to kind of slowly but surely kind of open it up. And if it's still going up, then probably have to be careful and wait till things get under control, to prevent another shutdown and third and fourth, because that should be message now should be very clear to everyone.
All right. MashaAllah. Well, you gave us something to think about now. What we were talking about, just as I noticed that you were here, we were talking about how about having every family, but especially the Muslim families, to have a certain time of the day when everybody gets together and shares information, so that everybody's on the same page with where we're at with the pandemic, where we're at with our own personal lives and what's going on. Because I think that if we don't do that, then somebody could be thinking, well, this is just no big deal now, and I'll go out here and get with my friends. You got somebody else, it's even trying to wash down the mail when it comes in, you know what I mean? And so I think it's good for everybody to be on the same page, in the same family.
Absolutely. And maybe one of the good things, if you want to look on the positive things of coronavirus, when people were staying at home and all that hopefully bring family together, praying together, eating together, yes, talking together, maybe have a quality time where we can, each one can read a half a page or a page of the Quran, and then maybe have one hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We usually do it after Maghrib prayer, and then kind of go over things. Obviously, the things that we have been repeating, that's I think pretty much got it down to pat. But any new developments, anything that people should be aware of, and then Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you do your best, and then after that you put your trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because Allah is the best protector. And this is the critical balance that a Muslim have in the Islamic faith, that you are all in full submission to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. After you've taken all your precautions and all your necessary steps to curtail that infection and avoid the spread of infection, and ask others to comply, then we all go back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and ask for His help and His mercy and His forgiveness to uplift this calamity from all over the world. And that should be our goal. But one of the benefits of the I would say the trials and tribulation, that would make someone to really make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And if Allah had tested Abd Salih, a good, virtuous slave of his, he would say, "Al malaika la asma' sawtu." Allah would love to hear the voice of those who are close to Him with the dua. Allah loves it, with the dua, and then be persistent at it. Allah loves us to be persistent with dua for Him, and it's a good incentive for us to get back to Allah, get closer to Allah, and really put things in perspective. And it also gets down the ego and the arrogance. It kind of humbles the person down, because a little virus, hey, rather stronger than you, or me, and it can have all this havoc everywhere on not just the health, but the economy and everything else, is really have changed the way that everybody lives, and that's happening globally. And then, you maybe have also the people now that start feeling and have compassion towards each other, with their love and compassion for whatever that calamity has happened. If somebody's sick or or passed away, then people kind of rally, and then they do the support for the family. Yes, it is. The tribulations. It's one way to wipe out the sins and get closer to Allah, and really remember the rewards for those who are patient and those who do not, complain, and who do not say why me and so on, but have a full faith in Allah Subhanahu wa Taala that this is not, something that is haphazardly happening. It is with the will of Allah Subhanahu wa Taala, and we should do our part and yes, get closer to Allah, because no matter what, ultimately if you return everything to the Creator, the Lord of heavens and earth, then we know that if they introduce the virus, then obviously it can uplift it anytime. But we just have to really take this opportunity to do soul searching, to do soul, spiritual renewal for all what's happening around us, and really get in a way that ultimately our return to our Creator. So maybe somebody should be ready with good deeds and good credit in that sense, that will help to wipe the sins and elevate the ranks and really bring humanity together. And I think that's, if you look on the positive side of things, that could be a good uplifter, an immune enhancer to everyone, inshallah.
I think you're absolutely right. That sounds exactly like what we should be focusing on. While we were talking, we were sharing back and forth, the picture got a little bit distorted, so I've got to have to work on that. But I want to come back to the subject with Dr. Sultan. We were just give me yeah. He's not there.
Yeah, please praying. I have the minute and a half, if you would, just
go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so if you recall, this is just a story about a American Muslim family that are trying to bring peace and then in the world, and trying to really fight Islamophobia through kindness and education. So this was example of someone come in and take a look at what Muslims eat and how they behave, interact with family members, and what's in the house. There's watching the kids, for instance, have Shrek movies at the time, and they were seeing children books, and there were major characters also in the Quran with the prophets, including the stories of prophet like Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam. Learning about Ismail alayhi salam, about Hajar, the wife of Ibrahim, and the water Zamzam and how it got out there. And not only that, but then have the kids in the school that they have characters that they have like Helen Keller, John F. Kennedy, and the calligraphy on the wall of different verses of the Holy Quran. So this were to see how the Muslim family live and really interact and have these two cultures melt in one, as patriots Americans, but also patriots Muslims, and they have different approach that people would love to at least learn about, so that they can get to learn people in a better way on a human level. And when they do that, then all the fears and mistrust, everything will go away, because ultimately it's the same human story everywhere: pursuit of happiness, and really everybody wants something good for their families, but also wanting something good for the neighbor, the community, and the country, and the world at large. So this was some was translation of the name Adil. It was the one who does fairness or justice. So just an example from the soccer field. And I hope that people can react to it and really improve it. Now, there was, I was assistant coach on soccer with, soccer coach Ralph. and would urge people to stay back. But my middle daughter, she at the time was so little, could not really be fully compliant with that. And then I kind of tried to keep my suggestion that to reconsider the action, stay out of the field so that it doesn't get hurt during the match. And then her game was coming up next. And then we mentioned the 777 rule of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. In the tarbiyah, or the upbringing, or how to get character building. So the first 7 years of life, you really, you don't know much, you don't comprehend much. So you kind of let go, but kindly and gently point the things that should be modified. And then the following 7, you kind of start to have a more or less, a modified way that now that they know that they have to pray, that they know that they can start, at least attempting to fast, and then they can go and know around how to be a good Muslim and a good Muslimah, and a good, example of what needs to be fulfilled of them. And then the last 7, when they grow into the adulthood, like say from 14 to 21st, they become friends. You become friend with your kids, and you don't basically boss them around. You basically take them as friends, and you interact with them in their daily life, because you're the trusted source that they can hopefully relate to their own experiences and maybe peer pressure and so on. So it was a good discussion of what Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, and taught humanity how to deal with their kids in their different stages of life. And it's really doing justice to everyone. So everyone has to have a fair shot at the game, and have to have fair shot at their fun. Not only that, but then took a note of how everybody, the family, would dress modestly and dress modestly. This is a reflection of the not what Allah has ordered, and in the religion, the certain dress code, especially for women, and that would reflect humility as well as modesty. And this is to fulfill the orders of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And in someone, in a way that this gentleman that was there, the reporter does tend, the day, said somebody is going to have to sacrifice. My littlest daughter is called Delia. She just came out of stroller, and initially was almost died the night before because of allergic reactions, stop breathing. And had to take him to the emergency room, had to give her the antidote Benadryl and some shots. It's called epinephrine, because of allergies that nobody knew about. But then later on, it found that it's allergies to fish. And since then, obviously that's a big modifier in the menu and so on. So I want to, stop here and just try to share the humanity part that people could say, just Muslims are just like everybody else. They have, aspirations, they have emotion, they just wanted the best to, like everybody else wants to have the best for their families and for their kids, and really for the neighbors, and share that with everyone. And I wanted to put this in perspective with real life stories that people can relate to and can understand. Hey, I'm going through the same thing. I'm going through the same challenges, and if someone understands that, then hopefully the human part would melt away in a beautiful way. That like right now with the coronavirus, somebody read an article on Wall Street that everybody should be, tested for coronavirus. Everybody, 300 million. And everybody's a potential coronavirus. Even with the latest research, 40% of quote unquote normal, healthy people can be carriers of the virus and pass it along. So we are in this together. Whatever you want for anybody, your friend, your family, for yourself, you want the same for others as well. And that's the beauty about Islam, that the concept of sharing, the concept of giving, the concept of serving others, and the concept of sacrificing, that you can get out of the comfort zone to help others in need, and to alleviate somebody's, tough times. Even it was just a joke. Even it was just something that, because a lot of people put a lot of emphasis on money. Of course, the money is important, but if somebody does not have that, then at least a word of encouragement, that's also act of charity. Just a smile is act of charity. So I wanted to bring the human part that people can really relate to and understand, and hopefully that will be part of the remedy that really helps us to get together as children of God, as sons of and daughters of Adam and Eve, to make a better world and to make this virus an opportunity for us to change to better. That's in a nutshell the message that, as you see from different events and different scenarios of events that have shaped the world, that we could really relate to and work together for a better world.
Subhanallah. I think that Allah Alam, but I think that this is a good chance for us to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about the contest. I've had some folks asking us about that, so we'll talk about it when we get back. But in the meantime, guys, I'd like for you to share this, let other people know what we're doing here, and then get them on too, and so we can talk about the contest, the results, and what we're doing about this. So stay tuned, stay guided with GuideUS TV. We'll be right back right after.
You're watching The Newsroom, Islam Newsroom. The news you want when you want it, from the Islamic perspective.
Now we have some websites, alhamdulillah.
Assalamu alaikum.
Who is Allah? Maybe we'll even see somebody enter into Islam.
Excuse me, do you believe in God?
Why do we call him Allah? One more time, everyone. Okay, good.
These are the ones that we're going to be mailing out.
Ilaha. Illa. Allah.
And I bear witness. That Muhammad.
And that's right, we're right across the river from Palestine, as a matter of fact, here in Aqaba. The new moon, the Hilal, has been sighted for the month of Shawwal.
When the adhan is called, it doesn't matter where you are. You go and you make your salah, alhamdulillah.
Now, I think this is something that inshallah ta'ala will all be able to benefit from.
GuideUS TV is free. No ads, no spam, no big business. Just free.
Log in now and make your contribution today to support your favorite project at donatetoislam.com.
And we're back. I told you we'd be right back, didn't I? And we have Dr. Sultan with us right now, too. So let's bring him out here and ask him what's going on there. We were talking with you, Doctor, a little bit earlier about, before you took your break, but we were asking you about what about this idea of having a meeting with like a shura meeting, or sitting together, talking with each other in the families, so that we can be on the same page. Because I don't want my kids, my great grandkids, all right, but I wouldn't want them running out in the streets and doing whatever, some of them doing that, and the other ones are not even coming out of their room because they're afraid of what's going on. I think there's a balance that we need to strike up, and I think it needs to be on a daily basis, so we see, well, yesterday we heard this, but now today, no, we can't do that, but tomorrow maybe it's something else. And so that's what I was trying to put an emphasis on, what I anticipate, but maybe I'm wrong, So what's your take on the idea of having the family meetings?
Well, that is very important. If you're just husband and wife, like me and my wife, that's our meeting. We carry on several meetings during the day. But mashallah, if you have smaller children or extended family, because things are changing so quickly every day, some new thing is coming up, and that gives you a different way of thinking at this horrific infection. So sharing news, sharing ideas, sharing how to keep yourself safe, and seeing that you're taking all those actions that are necessary, reasonable, not paranoid, in a reasonable degree that you're doing, and then you leave all to Allah Ta'ala. I think a lot of people are panicking, a lot of people are very much in distress because of all those things. But if you do the right things, like as one of the hadiths, a guy came in and he left his camel and said, "Why did you leave your camel untied?" He said, "Well, I left to Allah Ta'ala." He said, "No, first you tie it and then you leave to Allah Ta'ala." And this is one of the, among my patients, I see a major reason for their distress is because they are 100% dependent on human resources to solve the problem. But there is a bigger force, that's the force of Allah Ta'ala, and that we should have trust in Him, learn the new things, share the new things, and take reasonable precautions, and then at the end you leave it to taqdeer. That's what Allah Ta'ala has destined for you. After doing the best, even and then you don't get the good results. Well, that's the way Allah Ta'ala wills. But and this is where we get folly. That when we get some bad news, we think, "Oh my God, that's terrible." But Allah Ta'ala says that in every adversity we have a seed of equal benefit or greater benefit attached to it, and it is up to us to find that seed. Now, in this all this coronavirus, what I think is that people understanding the importance of nutrition, understanding the importance of rest, understanding the importance of exercise, understanding the importance of clean air, clean food, and all the stuff. So this is a learning experience, and hopefully by all these things we learn here, your personal hygiene, that we would have a better health future, because we already seen that with these hygienic measures, a lot of diseases are getting under control, especially infectious disease, digestive problems, and so on and so forth, which are basically part and parcel of not having good personal hygiene, are the main source of some of these chronic illnesses. And then on top of that, learning that alcohol and smoking, etc., are not good in this era. And hopefully, when we leave this, not we, but those who have those bad habits, leave them. It will be good not only for their immediate well-being, but also for their environment. And environment means your fellow citizen and your friends and relatives. One very important thing parents do not realize, and I'm addressing all those parents who smoke. I will give you some humbling statistics. When you smoke in the house, if you got small children, you got small in the house, the children get twice often as they should, and they get twice as worse than they should. And number three, they end up twice in hospitals than they should. So if you smoke in the house, just think about that half of your kids' illness, forget about your illness, but half of your children's illness, it is created by you. How does it make you feel? If you're still smoking, please, in this era, think about quitting smoking, because there's nothing more poisonous. There are about 3,000 to 4,000 chemicals in the cigarette smoke which predispose your lungs and upper respiratory tract both to these viruses. And as you know, that the coronavirus grows in the upper part of the respiratory tract, and the whole key is that it doesn't get in your lower part of the respiratory tract. Well, if it does that, then you got all the complications associated with coronavirus, pneumonia, and difficulty in breathing, and all the storm and all the cytokine storm and all that stuff going on. So please, if you're, well, you should quit smoking anyway, but especially your kids, for your kids' sake, please quit smoking because you're causing half of their illness.
So even if somebody is smoking in the car, but their children are in the back seat, what's that going to do?
Yeah, that's even worse because such a small place, you're creating so much smoke. In the house, it gets diluted, but not enough. It's still enough pollution that's causing sickness. But I think it is really child abuse if you smoke in the car. I mean, it's a child abuse when you smoke in the house, but when you smoke in the car, it is 10 times worse.
They're passive smokers. They're inhaling and they have no choice. They just
exactly. They're the victims, you see.
All right, Dr. Adil, if you'd like to mention something about that smoking, I'd like to hear from you as well.
Sure. Smoking comes in various flavors, and all of them on the rise right now. There's the tobacco, the cigarette smoking, but there's also vaping, which is becoming lethal. It's another pandemic that a lot of people don't hear about, but there's a lot of fatality that's going around, and usually it's associated with another drug abuse of some form, mostly narcotics and opioid, and then we have on top of that hookah, and which is another toxic element of tobacco.
Can the hookah affect your lungs as well?
Absolutely. And I remember, not only the usual, cancer, different types of cancers that come into contact with the nicotine and all the other toxic elements within the cigarette smoking or hookah or vaping, but also have resurgence of tuberculosis, in particular with the hookah. And somebody looked at the water that stays in there, and then looked at it and analyzed it in the lab. That can just cause all kinds of cancers and all kinds of destructive effects in the body. And if somebody does these things, what's going to happen to our immune system? The immune system, not just infection with coronavirus, when it becomes depressed, but all kinds of pathogens, all kinds of bacterial infection, fungal infection, parasitic infection. And then you have people actually spreading multiple infections simultaneously to others. So it's very important for people to realize if there is a better time, there is no better time to quit and get rid of these things better than now. We're talking about, maybe 20 cancers related to smoking and vaping. Now we're talking about death, the respiratory failure. There's a new diagnostic feature in the lungs, especially with vaping. It's called popcorn lung. That is just lead to young people on the ventilators, and they're just as sick as ever. Trying to get oxygen into the lungs, and a lot of people, even if they recover, they have long-lasting, devastating health effects. So why would we do that? Allah Subhanahu wa Taala in the Quran said, "La taqtulu anfusakum." Do not kill yourselves. Whether people say they kill yourself fast with the firearms, or kill yourself slowly with toxins and repeated toxins and so on and so forth. And then we talk about clogging the arteries. I'm sure heart disease. I'm sure stroking, if you clog the artery of the carotid arteries in the neck, the supply of the brain, same thing. The clogging the arteries of the legs, that people end up with getting amputations of the lower extremities. People get bad emphysema, COPD, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. People, I'm sure you've seen a lot of people huffing and puffing and being on oxygen tank because they cannot breathe on their own. So they have to have this tank of oxygen to wear 24 hours. Why? Why all this self-destruction? And of course, on top of that, financial distress, because all the money that they actually, put and pay to support this bad habit. And I remember one of the techniques, some that I've seen, and actually in Ramadan, the fundraising techniques is new, out of the box kind of, said how many people are smoking. They said we have 30. So how many people want to quit smoking? Maybe 20 would raise their hands. So we say, mashallah, we just raised $60,000 or $80,000. What's that mean? Well, each one average expenditure for tobacco, and maybe Dr. Sultan can verify that further, between 4 to 5 grams a year at least. So if you do that and multiply by 20, you get 100 grams right there for the budget, rather than the doctor bills and the hospital bills and for all treating these smoking related illnesses.
Well, that's 100% true. That when we talk about the cost, we do not talk about just the cost of the addictant itself, but we also talk about all the related illnesses that will take place in hospitalization and doctor's visits and the pharmaceuticals and inhalers and oxygen and on and on. Coming down to hookah, unfortunately, my parents used to smoke hookah, well, probably just cleaner than the tobacco smoke, but I had the honor of cleaning up the base, So the smoke goes to the water, filters out, and then the person smokes. And oh my God, how terrible it used to smell! Oh God, it was yellow, brown color, and smell. Even just after one use, it becomes the water becomes so dirty. I'm glad that didn't end up in the bodies of my parents, but they did smoke. It always has fascinated me. One question, which I know the answer to that, but most people may not know the answer, so I'm bringing it up. A 5-year-old kid can tell that cigarette smoke is bad for you, then a 40 or 50 or 80 years old man, how the hell he cannot comprehend that cigarette smoke is bad for him? And no matter how many lectures you give him, he is still not willing to quit, because tobacco is one of the most powerful addictant. That's by itself. And then when it's engineered to make into tobacco, and they put sugars in there, and they put chemical flavors in there, and so many other patent things over there, which they do scientific experiment and find out that what chemicals are addicting, and those things are put on the cigarette smoke. Tobacco is not just a pure tobacco grown in the field and brought it in, put in a tube and made the cigarette. It goes through the process of adding so many other things in there. So this combined compound multiple complex substance, when we call cigarette, eventually is full of all those toxic chemicals. And needless to say, that it is a big money-making machine. They let people addicted and then get them sick and get the benefit on the other end. So you're not you, but the industry is making money on both ends. And it is amazing to see that when tobacco smoke came on the horizon, I mean, in 40s and 50s, all the actors and actresses and everybody in power, used to smoke. And when all those horrible things came, and of course, I'm glad that in the United States, we have some recourse that if you are, not dealt fairly, at least you can go to the court and ask for justice. So when all these things, addicting stuff about tobacco smoke came, you know how many millions and billions of dollars the tobacco industry spent to not acknowledge that it caused anything, you see. But eventually, the truth wins, and it was recognized generally that yes, it is bad, and they have to pay a lot of money. For those people who died, who suffered, how can you compensate for all those sufferings? So my thing is, please quit smoking, and finally on some positive and some humorous end.
Yeah, That's
the best definition of a cigarette smoke, tobacco or a cigarette is that there is a paper tube. At one end is the flame, and at the other end is the food.
All right, I got that. One end is the flame, and the other end is the fool. Well, Doctor,
I'll leave it for some other time.
Yeah, Doctor Adil, you mentioned something about shisha, and while I'm listening to you guys, I'm putting up stuff from our website. One of our websites is called Islam Newsroom. We have about I don't know, maybe 20,000 articles over there or something like that. It's an amazing number. But one of them is about shisha, and you mentioned that, so I wanted to put that up while you talk about it. So the first thing is, it's a question. It presents a question, and it asks the question, is it haram to smoke the shisha?
Absolutely. All these toxins are haram. Smoking, vaping, shisha, hookah. It's just like opioid. All these things are absolutely haram. It kills not only the people who are doing it, but also the people around them. And it goes back, Dr. Sultan said, the importance of really the culture around you. If you grew up in a family that everybody smokes, you know what? More than likely, you're going to be a smoker. Smoker of hookah, smoker of vaping, smoker of cigarettes, and it's going to carry on to others. So we have to stop this culture of self-destruction. And I see people all the time, and it is addicting. There are a lot of people who put millions and millions in research into how to make this attractive and flavored and all attract young people and all that. So they get them to be addicts earlier in life, and this way they'll be lifelong customers of this addiction and end up being devastated by all these bad list of diseases that we mentioned. And subhanAllah, maybe the coronavirus is a great thing for people to wake up. A lot of people and they say, hey guys, we're closing all bars. I mean, this is really a phenomenal thing that happening, not because they're, anything, religious factors. Simply, it's a health issue. When people go and get drunk, they get their, with alcohol and the related parties and the related drugs and smoking and all that. It depresses their immune system. And you know what? There is a huge outbreak of coronavirus right after. And this has been a common theme all across the country. So now, to limit the spread of virus, you got to close the bars. And I hope that, Muslims and non-Muslims alike take advantage and really change their lifestyle. Get off hookah, get off vaping, get off tobacco, and you're going to do great. This way you save your life and save the life of those you love. And then remember now, if anybody puts in their application for health insurance or whatever that they're smoking, their premium is at least 3 or 4 times, and they're put already in a higher risk group. So that's another reason, and maybe financial motivation not to, go to the cleaners simply because of these smoking habits.
All right.
One thing we forget about talking about smoking is not smoking but chewing tobacco, and that's equally addicting and equally bad and damages your mouth and teeth and cause for oral cancer.
It's prevalent in Muslims, unfortunately. We have to mention that, and to let young people to stay away, from bad company, bad friends that they're, pulling their legs to go to, these places where they become addicts, and then, one drug abuse follow the other. Usually when somebody starts with smoking, then they go on to vaping, then they're going to go on to opioid, then they can go on to all kinds of bad things, and then end up in a hospital, intubated on a ventilator, or die suddenly, because they stop breathing. So it's a very critical now. There is no ifs and buts about it. Everybody has to take this seriously if they love their family or loved ones, to be the good role model in the house by stop the smoking. And if you have to have absolutely smoke, do it outside the house without hurting your family or your loved ones.
Well, what about I'm sorry, go ahead.
Another piece of advice about this thing is that, you know, we in the media we hear a lot about that the deaths associated with smoking and drug addiction and stuff like that, you know. But really, on a public level, what is being done? Not very much. Very little is being done because there's a lot of money to be made in there. So my advice to everybody is just remember one very important principle. If it has to be, it's up to me. No one is coming to my rescue. So if you have bad habits, take control of your health, whether it's drinking, smoking, or drugs, whatever that is, and it is you and only you who can make a change. Government laws, blah, 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 you know, nothing going to make a change. It has to be, it's up to me. No one is coming to my rescue.
It sounds, yeah, it sounds like somebody's been reading some self-help books.
Well, I've got great teachers, you know. If there's something wrong with that, let me know.
I think the best self-help book that I've ever seen is the Quran.
Yeah.
And then after that, the books that are collecting the hadith are very impressive. This morning we heard Dr. Muhammad Salah on GuideUS TV going over Riyadh al-Salihin and presenting that and explaining that. It was really amazing. And he's on every morning with us. Actually, I forgot what time it was. I think it was like 11 o'clock or 11:30 here, which would be afternoon for you guys. So anyway, that we have that on every day, every work day, or the weekday. I should say weekday because not everybody is able to work right now. Yeah, I think that we should mention too, but in our closing, wrapping up everything here, about the contest. Guys, I know that you've been watching GuideUS TV for a long time and you've been very patient with us. You've been listening to the children recite, but the judges are not finished yet. I'm hoping that some of that is going to be finished up by tomorrow and that we can make some announcements, but we weren't able to do it. And I thought we were going to do it Sunday, and here it is Monday. So it's just a matter of, you know, everybody's a volunteer around here, myself included. So all of us, we're trying our best to utilize the time that we have and take care of the different things. So make dua for our judges and ask Allah to make it easy for them and make them focus on getting it done as soon as possible. And so we can start announcing the winners, inshallah.
Inshallah. You know how many participants were there?
How many what?
Participants were there in the contest. How many? 100, 200, 500?
Oh, how many contestants? We had 122 videos, but some of them had put up more than one video. So I think that it would safe to say around 100 or something like that. And as far as the donors who have donated some things for the children, and also donated some money so that we could mail it out, I really appreciate all of you doing that. You really did make it possible for us to carry it out. We do have enough to take care of of course, the 1,000 prize winner. We had that in a special account in the bank so that we would have that at the end of this contest. So the $1,000, then the second 1,000 for the 10 who received that are all lined up as well. And they're telling me we got to close down now, so we're going to wrap it up. But tomorrow night, tune